Have you ever had this problem where technology actually gets in the way of the results and the outcomes you're looking for? Hey, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. One of the challenges I have with technology is it simply doesn't get the job done, especially when it gets overly complicated. Let me give you an example. I bought a iPhone, 256 gigabytes of disk space, 2 terabyte iCloud plan, and the iCloud is full. It is just definitely full. The local disk is pretty much full because I was using the iPhone for videos. I was doing videos and photography with it to get content for different various newsletters that I have. And I just couldn't download the materials fast enough. And then I was also using it to record video training programs. And so a 45-minute training program is like a 2 gigabyte file. It had a great camera for doing it. I was just, loading stuff in the library, pulling stuff down and publishing it as I go. I do a lot of answering clients' questions just by video or audio, and then I send them the video or audio. So I was sharing that through iCloud. Long story short, once you fill up the iCloud space of 2 terabytes and you have your disk is full on your phone, it starts uninstalling apps. The phone will crash at weird times. It's hard for iCloud to be able to download the files to your local system so that you can export them out. I'm actually using Lightroom now with Adobe. But long story short is the administrative overhead of managing all of this content is ridiculous. Now, again, I talk about these methods of so, for example, when people write in with their questions, I'll respond with a small presentation. I'll do a 15, 20-minute presentation that's been outlined and focused on so that I can reuse that content because I don't use the person's name. I don't call out their specific unique situation. I just translate their question into a mindful and useful content segment. And then I send it to that individual and they might give me feedback, and that feedback I'll use to develop some kind of information product or some kind of tutorial resource. But ultimately, my phone gets all jammed up. My computer gets all jammed up. I got a 9-year-old iMac computer, and my PC's more modern. But I've got 5 computers at the office in order to get work done. I got one computer dedicated to the accounting software and financial related software. I got another computer that's kind of the graphics workstation that's got a better video card and 64 gigs of memory. And I got a desktop that's got 32 gigs of memory, but it's a 9-year-old system, and that's mainly my editing and my email computer. Then I've got, of course, a system that's just for clients, all because technology doesn't always do what's necessary. So here's the lesson. First off, you've got to have a clear plan about the work you're going to get accomplished. Okay. You need to focus in on a specific set of work, and that specific set of work, you get the tools together and you just start working on it. The next tip is you got to have some kind of backup. If one system fails, like for example, if my desktop fails, it's got a software update or something like that. All my work is saved either in OneDrive or OneNote. I can open up OneDrive or OneNote on my iPad if I have to. I can open it up on a different PC. I can open it up on a different platform, even my phone if I have to. The key is that if I've designated time to write an article or to write a sales letter and something fails, I need to be able to pick up my work someplace else and keep going. See, I know so many people, oh, hey, Justin, we didn't get this written up because, my PC's having problems. And I say, well, do you just have one PC? What's the problem here? And I know that sounds a little elitist, but if you're in business to be writing copy and you got just one PC, now I've even seen people who have a writing computer that is disconnected from the network altogether. I have actually throttled my computer because there's a lot of software updates today. I actually throttle a writing PC that all the only thing it's there is to write. It's got Scrivener on it. It's got Microsoft Office and Word. It's got Grammarly. It's got all the tools for writing. That's it. There's nothing else on the computer. No video games, no internet, no nothing. Internet's dog slow. Now at night, I keep the computer on 24 hours, and at night the internet is fast so that you can download updates and things like that. But during the day, you're either in an editor or you're in your notes. All your research is done someplace else. It's put into research files, and we can talk about that in another time. But essentially, you're there to write. All you do is write. And you write, and you write, and you write, and you write. It's like having a typewriter. The computer won't do anything else except for writing. That's it. Well, that's because it makes you more productive. It focuses your interest. There's no notifications popping up. There's no email to check. If you have to use a browser, it's slow, so you just don't use the browser. There's no YouTube videos to watch because the computer's kind of old and crappy. For example, the writing computer could have a single monitor. So all you can do is have space to write. That's it. Now, in the case of the bookkeeping computer, I have a specific place in my house designated for bookkeeping. So that's where all the mail comes in. That's where it all gets stacked up. And then I sit down and do the bookkeeping. Last night I paid bills and I went through different accounts, and I did it in a space that is designated for such. I can't do any writing in that space because it's not my writing space. I don't have my reference books. I don't have my material. It's not a writing space. It's a bookkeeping space. See, technology will fail. I was a lead systems administrator for quite a while. I've done a lot of technology-related logistics, operational work. Technology always fails. If you got one connection to the internet, as Dan Kennedy says, one is none and two is one. If you have one connection to the internet, you at least better know a backup location. Okay? I have I have an iPad and a laptop. I know from the laptop I can do writing because that's my primary job is writing. But the laptop, I can also check email. My main writing computer, I can write and I can check email, and I can for example, social media is throttled at the office. If I go to a local coffee shop, I can get the social media. If I'm going to do a live stream broadcast, I know 2 locations in town where I can get a private room or space, and they have 500 megabytes up and down. So if I'm going to live stream, which I try not to live stream, I'm going to go to this location where I can get 500 megabytes up and down, because I know if I'm at my house, even if it's 150 or 200 megs, I'm going to have problems because the upstream is only 20 megabytes. And a lot that happens a lot in residential or business internet is your office will have a great download, very fast download, but very slow upload. If you're going to live stream video, you need as fast upload as possible. So again, I've got locations identified where I can go to, and now you have to ask the question, well, for what are you doing? What do you need? If I'm going to just record, I have a studio at the house. I can record. But if I'm going to record live stream, I need space for 2 people, so myself and then somebody who's handling the chat. And then I need the video equipment there and a live connection, not a Wi-Fi connection, but a wired connection. And I can get that at several places in town. This is all critically important because your systems will fail. Your computers will fail. Your phone will get lost. Your laptop will fail. But you still got to get the work done. You still have work to complete. So when you're on a deadline, when you're trying to finish up something for yourself, it is very important to have a second route. So when I record my podcast, I've got 3 devices to record podcasts on. So if I've planned for a podcast, I've done my outlines, I've done my show research, I've done my my setup, like my draft show notes, and then I'm sitting down to record, and my phone doesn't work because I filled the damn thing up. My calendar had to be reinstalled today because I ran out of space on the phone. Now I am working on getting the images off and getting them all into Lightroom, but my point being is that should not be an excuse for you not getting done what you need to get done. If you're going to get 3 podcasts done a day, and you're going to schedule those podcasts over time, so you have some backup, you kind of have a flow of podcasts, then you had better have the resources set up somewhere. And if one resource fails, be able to pull up another. Now, I could do a lot of video recording, but again, my device that does the video is all jammed up. Now, I have everything pushed out in the cloud, but I'm at the point where my 2 terabytes in the cloud is messed up, is all full. And as fast as I can, I'm pulling the images off. But I really don't want to sit down for 2 hours and go through the images. I tend to do it for like 30 or 40 minutes, and then I stop. You've got to designate time and procedures in order to handle these things. So what I do now is any new images created, I actually sync out the phone direct and load that stuff right straight into Lightroom and then delete it off the phone. Just like I would a little USB card or a little SD card out of a camera. I've got other cameras because if the iPhone won't stay open or I don't have enough space to do a 40-minute video, then I can use a different camera. I can use a web camera. I can use some other source. But again, it doesn't take much to take one sheet of paper and write an outline of the procedure you use to record a video, to do an interview, to write. And then at the end of that, make a list of your alternative media, your alternative tools. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and this has been about how to be more productive, how to address the problems that will happen in a modern office environment, and how to continue and still get your copy out despite all of the interruptions that you will face. If you have questions about being more productive as a copywriter, marketer, or business development consultant, I have a number of performance and peak performance activities that you can do, including how to have your staff get a lot of this stuff done so that you can syndicate the work and be focused on your high skill areas. If you have any questions about this or anything else I cover, visit me at www.adbriefings.co.uk, and let's be productive using words that sell.